We're going to be talking about three pretty diverse paintings today. They are incredibly varied in style and in subject matter, but I thought I'd just kick off by asking firstly, Kate, this is your second time, is that right?
Yeah.
Being a finalist in the Archibald? So
Yeah.
what is it that drives you as an artist to enter this prize in particular?
I really wanted to spend quite a long time with a painting, and I thought this would be a good opportunity to do another self-portrait because I'm always on hand to sit.
You're always there, aren't you?
So I thought, I'll like to spend a long time, and that's what kind of started it.
And Carla, for you, what about for you? This is your first time, is that right? Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I've always wanted to enter, and I guess I got to the point where psychologically I was ready. So I
What do you mean psychologically you were ready? Is there a bit of trepidation doing it?
I think it was something where I had to make sure that I felt like I was at a point to put myself out there and get rejected or whatever it was going to be. So
you haven't entered before?
No.
That's pretty good. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank
and is this the same for you, Nigel? Have you entered before?
Never.
Never before?
No.
So first time in the finalists as well?
Yeah, I was surprised.
So why did you do it this year?
Well, I just thought that being a good friend of Adam's, I thought that it was a good time to paint him in a situation in his life cycle, I guess, and I thought I could maybe capture him.
So you did choose to paint Adam Cullen, who Nigel has already won an Archibald, I think about 10 years ago. He's one of the finalists as well. And he's a friend of yours, so that was pretty much the reason why you chose to paint him?
Well, yeah, it was like just paying an old friend, you know. And I like that. I don't like to paint people that I don't know. So I found that in a lot of ways he was a perfect sort of candidate for a portrait that fitted into a whole other area of my work.
Tell me a bit about then your approach for painting the picture of Adam Cullen. And has everybody seen the pictures downstairs? So we all know what the paintings look like? So it's a very large portrait of Adam in a kind of a cloak or a monk's habit or something like that. Tell me a bit about your approach. Why did you choose this particular approach for this portrait of Adam?
Well, I guess there's a media, I guess, persona that comes with Adam, and I felt that basically it's not really the real Adam. You know, he's actually a very vulnerable and intelligent and very intense person. And I thought that if I could basically sidestep the whole tabloid sort of area of who he is, because I know him, which helped, I could do a portrait that was somewhat more accurate, I guess. Yeah.
Do you have to know the portrait person or the sitter, I suppose, Carla, in this case, to get an understanding of them? Is it extremely important?
I met Cw Stanking through a mutual friend, but I wouldn't say that I have a long-standing friendship with him. And that was, my choice to paint him was through respect for what he does as a performer and a musician. And I had it was fantastic. I had him playing banjo to me in my studio as I was sketching. So I really wanted to capture the intent in his expression and as the seriousness, but also his determination as an independent artist. So it's not maybe as personal as Nigel's work, but
you have to get to know somebody, don't you?
Yeah, you have to sort of, I do, to a certain degree, understand them.
And did you have to get to know yourself a bit more? Did you have to introduce yourself?
Hopefully, the work sort of was a reflection on where I'm at with my art practice, and I guess part of that with the pose that I'm in, which is sort of an anti-anxiety pose, which was kind of aspiring to a sort of sense of balance between family life and art life, and so
you had to get to know yourself a bit more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like counselling almost.
Well, conversations in the studio.
You said, Nigel, that you and Adam are really close friends, and actually I was just reading before the description of the work itself, and it said that you guys go off on camping trips and you collected birds until you realised that was not allowed. Is that true?
Oh, no. I mean, we originally would go out and try to catch birds, living birds or baby birds, birds of prey, which was something that I've been interested in like since I was a kid. But I think the way we would go about it, like Adam and I, seemed a bit too extreme. So I kind of said, man, like, let's sort of take a backward step, and then we realised that you can't do it. It's not legal to catch rare birds and take them home. It's not like owning chickens or roosters. You know, you're not allowed to do it.
Thank God for that, because I was about to do that this weekend. I wouldn't have known.
Same.
So, I mean, we're just talking about this. I mean, you're friends with Adam. You've been friends with him for 10 years. You paint his portrait. It's the first time you've painted his portrait. Do you know him better? Do you know something about him that you didn't know before?
Yeah. I know that he's probably more fractured and dysfunctional than ever that's ever been written or said.
So how did you go about painting his portrait? Give us the nuts and bolts. What did you do?
Well, I drove up there, and probably around, I sort of set off from Glebe at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I got a phone call while I was driving. He said, I answered it. I knew it was Adam. He said, don't come up, man. I'm not ready for it. And I just said to him, look, I'm coming up. I'm ready. I'm actually ready for it. I'm coming up. This is the last chance I get to paint you because, whatever. And so I basically ignored the command not to come up, and I turned up there at sort of 4 in the afternoon, and we sort of talked for a period, and then I just sort of got into it. Did about 7 paintings, a few drawings, took a few photos while he was sleeping, and thought that was a good chance. So, that was
you get him
it.
to sit still for that time, just sleep.
Well, yeah, I thought, wow, this is the perfect moment. I don't have to actually, because he's a very, he doesn't stand still for too long. But while he was sleeping, I thought, yeah, cool. Put out the camera.
And we're going to talk. I'm actually going to go through and we're going to talk to each Carla and of course Kate as well individually about their portraits. But tell me a bit about this particular portrait and the pose that you ended up choosing. Well, that's not from him sleeping though, is it? It's a bit different.
No, it's. I guess I was concentrating when I went up there on his head, mainly, and because his physical presence or his physicality can change from week to week. He can be big or he can be small. So I thought I'd just focus on his head, and I did the paintings, and went home. And that's right, the physique. It was basically loosely based on a Goya drawing. Could have been a painting, I can't remember.
So if anybody knows which painting or drawing it is, Nigel would like to know.
Yeah, I think the title might. I had a friend send me a book today. Actually, I received it today. It said, "This is not whatever." So, but it was a guy standing there holding a book, which was cool.
So you actually based your picture on another artist's work. Is this something that you both do? Is this something, Kate, that you have ever done?
It's definitely come into my work, and one of the influences on my work has been my grandfather's traditional painting, and so I have adapted certain aspects of his work. So he used to paint these Chinese scroll paintings. He was actually a dentist who painted in his spare time, and this painting in the Archibald also references him in another way because part of his name had dragon in it, and so there's a giant gold dragon in the painting, yeah.
It's a beautiful gold dragon.
Oh, thank you.
Did it take a while? Yes.
It did, yeah, and there's like, the 10,000 scales took a little while, yeah.
Oh, 10,000, stop complaining. That's easy. How about for you? Do you feel that like Nigel and Kate, do you reference other artists' work, particularly in this work, Cw Stanking's portrait?
Not a particular artist, but I did sort of want to go referencing an overexposed old photograph feel because of, so not a particular artist, but an older kind of, another form. Because of CW's music, I don't know whether anyone's how many people have heard his music, but he sounds like he's from the 1920s. He sounds like a black African-American blues singer from the United States. So it's I wanted to have this timeless quality to it, but not a particular artist.
So why does his music in particular resonate for you so much so that you thought, this is the guy I would like to choose as my first Archibald Prize entry?
Ironically, his music is extremely visual. It's quite calypso. It transports you to another time and place. And it was tempting to try and reference a lot of the visuals, but I like I said, wanted it to be about CW and his intent. And I think that it was more about CW than his music, but the references there. His music is of another time and place.
So Nigel's told us how he drove up to Melbourne, down to Melbourne, to paint. Is that right?
To Wentworth Falls.
Oh, Wentworth Falls, right. Okay, so to paint Adam Cullen, my apologies. So what did you do when it came to painting Cw Stanking? Firstly, how did you approach him, and then how did you even get started? Were you nervous? Was he nervous?
Yeah, no, I was definitely nervous. We went. I picked him up from his house. We actually don't live very far from each other in Melbourne. And we picked up some lunch and went to the studio, my studio, which is, not far from where we both live. And, I'd set up a space and we just spent, we pretty much did 5 or 6 hours sitting where he played music and we talked about, his world and his influences and things like that. And there was a lot of moments where it was just me sketching away and him playing music. So it created its own energy by being there because he's got a very loud voice and a very loud banjo. So it was great. I didn't. Yeah.
Could you concentrate?
Yeah. No, it was fantastic. Yeah.
So what's your interest, Carla, in portraiture to start with? Because I know that you have your finger in a few other kind of things that are on the go, and a combination between fashion and design and of course drawing and art as well. Why portraiture?
I studied drawing, and I guess portraiture, I've always been really, really concerned with the fundamentals. And when I was studying studying drawing, I saw a real parallel with my drawing lecturer and the plastic surgeon that my mum worked for. And so I saw this godlike complex happening about, because, as artists you can create, and as plastic surgeons you can kind of create.
And mould.
And mould.
Yep.
And so I asked as I was studying under Gordon Bradbeer, who's an incredible Australian drawer, an artist, I also asked to study under this plastic surgeon. So my fundamentals in portraiture, I studied like the old masters, but in a contemporary context, looking at anatomy.
So tell me a bit more about that, because the anatomy that you see, I imagine, in a plastic surgery room, it's got to be surely different than the masters and what they were doing in those early experiments.
I imagine they didn't have Kylie Minogue pumping in the background either.
Is that really the case?
They had Kylie Minogue playing as they were operating.
Locomotion, one of the first ones?
Look, it is different, but it was incredibly... it's so much more colourful when they're alive. Mm. Yeah, that's what I found.
But how does it compare to the other projects that you are involved with, which is about fashion and design and drawing and putting your artwork in a very different context than what we might see here in a gallery?
I guess it reflects me. I kind of am quite open to making imagery accessible in different ways, and I like playing with it in different contexts. So as important, and because I have a high regard and belief and of all the art contexts, I see a place for it in different contexts.
And like with Nigel's work, there are birds that are sort of part of your practice as well. It's actually, quickly, Nigel, tell me about birds, because if you've been upstairs to the Wilderness exhibition, there are about 4 works of yours, Nigel, that are there as well, that are called Prophet as Bird. Is that right? Tell me.
Bird as prophet.
Birds. Tell me, what's your interest in birds? And tell me a little bit about how the portrait that you've done in the Archibald connects to what we might see in the Wilderness series as well.
Well, can you hear that? Well, basically, I've always been interested in birds from a very young age, and I found that after giving a commission by the MCA, they asked me to do a video, and I thought, like, I'm not like a video artist, but I can certainly think about moving images, and I immediately just jumped on birds as moving. I guess it's, like painting and video is very separate, or different, because video is, they call it time-based or time-based art, but I think painting is also that, But anyway, I just...
They're quite symbolic as well, though, because you've talked a bit about how they can represent flight and light and dark and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's something which is I can throw to you now, Kate, because this is quite
symbolic animals.
There's a lot of symbolic animals that are going on in your work, which is a self-portrait with
is.
guardian spirits.
Yeah.
Now we've talked before about why it's a self-portrait, why you've gone down that path, but tell me a bit about the guardian spirits. What do they mean to you?
Well, the portrait is basically kind of reflecting on a journey from being born in Kowloon in Hong Kong, which is also known as the City of 9 Dragons, so that kind of related to the dragon. And dragons are always considered to be like protective and fierce and benevolent as well in both Chinese culture and Welsh culture, and which is where my background comes from. It's a blend of those two cultures. And in this portrait I also have these 2 kind of green mythical lion dogs, also known as foo dogs, who also look very similar to our own family Staffordshire Terrier.
What, your dog?
Yes.
What's your dog's name?
Tudo.
Tudo?
Yeah. It's
There's
from Brazilian.
There's 2 dogs, is that what it means? Because there's 2 dogs in the
it's
portrait.
Brazilian Tudo Bem, which means everything good.
So there's a portrait of you and your dogs look like your dogs too?
Yeah, but they're also like kind of guardian companions. Yeah, so, and I was born in the year of the dog, and dogs kind of do pop up in my work quite a lot. Yeah.
I was born in the year of the dragon.
Ah,
yeah. Is that why you painted
impressive.
the dragon? Yeah. Is it really impressive?
It is. Well,
good
dragons are very sort of,
Very lucky.
Yeah, powerful image.
I mean, your work is, all your works are quite large, beautiful works, but in particular, you're sitting in the lotus position as you were talking about, and it's this very strong, powerful woman. And if you think back to the previous works that you've done, most of them in many ways feature these strong, powerful women. And in particular, there's the idea of this comic book heroine or a character called Li Ji, whom you painted earlier on. Tell me a bit about Li Ji and tell me how this work connects to her.
Well, Li Ji came from a 4th century Chinese fable about a girl who basically saved her whole village by slaying a giant, monstrous python and sort of defying all odds by being, a girl who took on this beast. So I adapted her throughout my work, and I made an animated video about 10 years ago now, where Li Ji also was a contemporary Melbourne girl having these flashbacks to her past life as a warrior in ancient China. And then from there I started making more images of Li Ji, and then she sort of evolved into different eras and different figures, and I guess it's the spirit of Li Ji which sort of continues on.
Why is that character so resonant with you after all this time? Why does she still stay with you?
I guess it's the story, and also it sort of relates to I grew up not speaking Chinese, and as an adult I tried to learn Chinese, and I went to China, a long time, like 95, and it was part of also like these Chinese English textbooks. I had one on fables, and this story just really kind of, captivated me. And so I guess, the visually, it just kind of,
It does.
inspired.
But what about thematically? Because I know in the past you've also talked about, the concept of migration and a sense of belonging and various other themes that have always been quite present in your work. Tell me a bit about what those themes are and why they still maintain such an interest for you.
Well, I guess, my work's got a strong interest in cultural identity and looking at the issues of migration and a sense of belonging and the paths of migration and family connections and also the way people negotiate that, and whether it be through your friends or work or travel or your heritage. So that's sort of come out in my work, and a lot of my figures are kind of from mixed kind of like cultural backgrounds, like you can't really tell where they're from, and there's a lot of symbols in my work that kind of relate to that, and I'm kind of really into the transcultural idea now, where we're all kind of, transcultural because we're, living with so many different kind of things in our lives from different cultures. And
So how do you, just quickly, how do you even start the work? How do you even put paint to how do you draw yourself? Do you get nervous?
Not really. I just
Is there a mirror?
sat in front of the mirror and did quite a bit of sketching, and then later on I had to, do a bit of hand and feet studies. So then, like, once I'd done my preliminary sketches in my sketchbook and kind of worked out my composition, that's when I kind of get it onto the canvas and start working it. But it does kind of evolve as well, like later on. So.
And so when you'd finished, were you a bit nervous to show yourself what you'd done?
No, I was happy with it, but it's still slightly nerve-wracking to actually, like it was, being in the Archibald was very exciting, but at the same time it's nerve-wracking because it's out there, to be scrutinised.
For sure.
Yeah.
So Carla, how about for you? You finished Cw Stanking.
Mm-hmm.
The guy is a legendary voice. You show him the work. Tell me about that moment.
Well, it was here that he saw it for the first time. So he was particularly sweet. He goes, "I think you're going to win it." So, I think he was being very nice. But, he was...
He was strumming a banjo.
His reaction was amazing, and I was really nervous because it's,
So were you more nervous about showing the sitter than you were about, of course, being part of the competition?
Yeah, I didn't realise that I was, but I think I was really quite... Once I got that out of the way, I felt a lot better.
And did I see a picture in the press that he actually dressed like in the picture, the portrait itself? Is that right?
Oh, he it was quite funny. He predominantly wears white with a bow tie, and he sometimes wears a striped jacket. But he's sort of like an artist himself that way, because he used to only wear black, but now he's going through his white period. And, it could change. I don't know yet.
Are you going through your black period, Nigel?
Yeah.
What was it?
I don't think so. I'm just sort of painting.
Yes.
With whatever I can, with whatever colours I feel like using,
And what about for you? When Adam saw the painting, what was the response?
He said, well, can I have it? He basically said, oh, can I have it?
Oh, can you have it?
Yeah,
And what did you say?
I said, well...
If you give me one of
fucking
yours...
cough it up, mate. No, I said, look, if I die tomorrow, you can have it. But I didn't, so...
Can I have it?
Yeah,
Because we're
sure.
best friends. We just met half an hour
Well,
ago.
yeah, you can have it if I die tomorrow.
So we're going to wrap it up pretty soon, but just a quick answers for you, for all three of you. What is the most important thing that you hope to convey when painting a portrait? Kate?
I guess in like a sense of the balance within the work, and I guess an essence of the person. Yeah.
Okay. Carla?
The essence of a person. The intent was really important. And then on a personal level, technical and composition and all of, the melding everything together. Yeah.
And no evidence of plastic surgery?
Yeah, no.
Definitely. Nigel?
Fact.
Fact.
Yeah, fact.
Okay, I'll go with that quite quick question. And just lastly, a dinner party question for artists. So you're at a dinner party with all your artist friends, and this is what you ask each other. If you had a choice, any choice in the world, to paint someone's portrait firsthand, dead or alive, who would it be? Don't think about it. Nigel?
You.
Oh, sweet. I have been keeping my payments up. Carla?
This is Brett Whiteley.
Okay, that's good.
Frida Kahlo.
They're all pretty good. So when's our sitting, Nigel?
Tonight.
Tonight. No worries. They've been such great sports. Would you please thank them? These are our Archibald finalists.